It may be a subsidiary of the Walt Disney Company, but Pixar's films are distinctly different. Welcome to WatchMojo.com, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 things Pixar does that Disney would never do.
Excuse me, I think the word you're searching for is Space Ranger.
The word I'm searching for, I can't say.
Before we begin, we publish new content every day, so be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. For this list, we're looking at all the ways Pixar differs from Disney in how they craft their stories and create their films.
Go ahead, give him some smoke.
Number 10. They don't let their characters sing.
No music.
While music plays an important role in many Pixar films, not a single feature they've created is considered a musical. Movies like Toy Story and 2017's Coco use lyrical music in the background to convey characters' feelings, but the characters themselves do not always do the singing.
You're my favorite deputy.
You got a friend in me.
While they haven't done a musical yet, the concept isn't totally off the table. Animator James Murphy has said that Pixar would consider doing a musical, quote, if an individual came up with an idea that deserved or warranted one, because it would have come from, quote, a very genuine place.
Only a song has the power to change a heart.
Number 9. They stick to animation. You've probably noticed that in the 2010s, Disney has started a practice of rebooting some of their classic films using a combination of live action and CGI. They've already released Beauty and the Beast and The Jungle Book, with Dumbo and The Lion King following in their footsteps.
I mean the bare necessities, oh Mother Nature's recipes that bring the bare necessities of life.
Pixar's movies are already computer animated, and we'd be surprised if they ever decided to make a live-action version of something like Toy Story or Inside Out, because it wouldn't feel all that different from the original.
They are not part of this dream. Get them.
Stop right there.
Pan away! Pan away!
Number 8. They set their stories in expansive worlds. While Disney movies do take place in fantastical lands, the settings are often concentrated, and the characters are often rooted in the same place. Pixar often offers up much more exploration, with characters traversing long distances over a world that is richly developed.
Where am I? Where's home?
Think of Marlin and Nemo swimming through the ocean, or Wall-E traveling through space, or Carl going on an epic adventure in Up.
Ellie is so beautiful. We made it.
Pixar characters develop through these journeys, and viewers get to experience a fully realized world that seems practically endless. Number 7. They focus on adults. Some would argue that Pixar caters their movies more to older audiences, with jokes that have double meanings that only grown-up viewers would understand. This may be true, but more importantly, the folks at Pixar focus on adult problems that are more relatable for older viewers. Many of Disney's protagonists are young or youthful. Think of the teenaged princesses or Simba, Dumbo, and Peter Pan.
This won't do. What's the matter with you? All it takes is faith and trust.
In Pixar movies, however, we get to see Mr. and Mrs. Parr figuring things out in middle age, or Marlin searching for his son.
I promised him I'd never let anything happen to him.
That's a funny thing to promise.
What?
Well, you can't never let anything happen to him. Then nothing would ever happen to him.
The themes of Disney films are much more youthful and optimistic, while those in Pixar films are more rooted in reality. Number 6. They create more subtle antagonists. In every Disney movie, there's a bad guy. Think of Cruella de Vil, Scar, Captain Hook, or Dr. Facilier.
You can blame my friends on the other side. Now what you wanted.
These are all cut-and-dry villains who move the plot of the film along with their evil deeds.
Long live the king.
In Pixar movies, however, characters are often dealing with internal rather than external struggles.
You need me to be happy, but I want my old friends and my hockey team.
Though there are definitely antagonists in Pixar films, they're often more auxiliary figures who make things more difficult for our heroes, but don't necessarily drive all the action.
Yo, McQueen! Seriously, that was some pretty darn nice racing out there.
Fight me!
It is a subtle distinction, but one that makes Pixar movies all the more complex. Number 5. They show what happens after Happily Ever After.
And after years and years of asking and asking and asking, I finally said yes.
Eugene.
All right, I asked her.
And we're living happily ever after.
The romance in Disney movies focuses largely on the courting phase, the will they or won't they anticipation that ends with a first kiss. This makes sense for a younger target audience, but in Pixar films, we get to take a look at couples and families after the honeymoon phase has ended.
I never look back, darling. It distracts from the now.
The most notable example is, of course, The Incredibles, but we also see examples of this in Up, Inside Out, and Finding Nemo. Pixar shows how a happy ending doesn't have a sense of finality, and how there are always more struggles to be faced after that fade to black.
I decide when I'm done.
I was hoping you'd say that.
Number 4. They skip dialogue.
You know, you don't talk very much. I like you.
2 of Pixar's most successful films feature scenes or segments with no dialogue that still manage to pack a big emotional punch. Even without hearing characters speak, the writers were able to convey a wide range of emotions in the opening sequence of Up and the first act of WALL-E. It takes some pretty expert storytelling skills to make viewers feel for characters without using any words. But Pixar pulls it off in a way that's beautiful and impactful. It's hard to imagine Disney ever doing anything like this. Number 3. They set their stories in the real world.
Hang posters. Check. Now I just need to ace my classes, graduate with honors, and become the greatest scarer ever.
Disney has built their brand on fairy tales. Since the company's inception, it's been taking time-honored classics and putting them on the big screen for a wider audience. They've operated in a world of make-believe and fantasy lands, and that's what people love about them. Even more recent films follow the same criteria.
Are you ready?
Over at Pixar, however, they still tell somewhat fantastical stories, but almost every single one is rooted in reality. Pixar makes you look at the world we live in through a different lens, shining a light on things like toys, bugs, fish, and rats that you may not have thought to pay attention to.
A realm belief? I don't think we can do that.
Oh, nonsense. This is nothing compared to the twig of 93.
Number 2. They ask, what if?
Once upon a time, in a faraway land, a young prince lived in a shining castle.
The distinction that many people are aware of between Disney and Pixar is that Disney bases all their films on the concept of once upon a time, while Pixar's movies are all rooted in a question of what if. What if our toys came to life when we weren't looking?
Be right back.
Psst. Hey, hello? Hi, excuse me. Shh. Can you tell me where I am?
Shh. What if a rat wanted to be a chef? What if the monsters in our closets were real? What if we could see what goes on in a young girl's brain?
What was your favorite part?
Spitting out the car window!
Definitely not when Dad was singing.
Wearing a seatbelt!
Oh, what about the time with the dinosaur?
Oh, that's the one.
Dad, look at the car. Just look behind you.
Pixar movies may not offer the same escapism that Disney movies do, but they are still filled with a sense of wonder and curiosity that makes us look at reality with fresh eyes. Number 1. They create morally ambiguous characters. We've already talked about how the antagonists are a little different in Pixar movies, but the heroes are much more complex as well.
I can fly. Can you fly?
Fly home, buddy. I work alone.
Oui, et ta tenue est complètement ridicule!
Just give me one chance.
There's far less black and white morality in Pixar films, and characters don't fit neatly into good or bad categories.
I'm sorry. Riley needs to be happy. Joy?
Pixar's protagonists aren't always the most sympathetic figures, and they often struggle to make the right choices. Disney's heroes are typically unflagging in their moral uprightness and would never make a selfish decision. Pixar's characters may be a little harder to love, but when you stick with them, it's definitely worth it.
Please. He's my friend. He's the only one I've got.
Do you agree with our picks? Check out these other great clips from WatchMojo, and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.